Hey guys, Robin here, and welcome to another movie review. Today I am reviewing the 1974 sci-fi When Nature Attacks movie, Phase 4. Yeah. Now, the plot of this film is some strange, unusual cosmological event occurs that causes ants to become incredibly intelligent and incredibly strong. Now, this was the only theatrical film that was directed by Saul Bass, whom you may know as the guy who created the opening credit sequences for such movies as Psycho and North by Northwest. And this film is a very odd movie because well, basically ants are becoming smart enough to build these giant square-shaped columns that are as tall as a house, and they're also intelligent to know that mirrors reflecting light onto metal makes what is inside the metal thing very hot. Now, the entire film takes place in a desert that has kind of sort of been overrun by these mutated ants. Um, who have basically killed animals that would normally prey on them, such as larger bugs, lizards, maybe birds, and of course anteaters. And pretty much every single person has evacuated the area except for one family who think they can defeat the ants by digging a moat around their property and filling it with gasoline. This, of course, does not work because the ants are a bit too smart for that. And so they flee to the dome where our two scientist leads are, played by Nigel Davenport and Michael Murphy. And and their arrival at the dome has them the victims of poor timing because the our two scientists are testing out a yellow pesticide that basically covers the entire area with this ant killer, and and only the daughter of the family, played by Lynn Frederick, survives because she ran into the basement of an abandoned house that had an outdoor entrance, like those two doors that kind of open up like that. And speaking of this is not the first movie that Nigel Davenport and Lynn Frederick were in together. They they had previously appeared in the 1970 British apocalyptic sci-fi thriller called No Blade of Grass, and 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 they uh, now an interesting note of this film is it was actually one of the very first movies to have the trope where the film's title doesn't show up until the very end. Because at the start of the movie, we see text that says Phase 1, and then the second act opens with Phase 2, and the third act opens with a Phase 3 title card, and the film ultimately ends on the Phase 4 title card. Now, I have to address this cover, which is taken from the film's poster. Yeah. Now, there is a bit in the film where an ant does emerge from a person's hand, but the person is long since dead, so there is no blood. Also, the dome, not sure if you can see it very well, is never catches fire, never set on fire, but the ants do build mirrors that reflect on the dome and make it so hot inside that the computers malfunction. And by the way, Nigel, and by the way, Mike Murphy's character is actually using some of these computers to decode the language that the ants are using. Now, one interesting note is after our two scientists attempt to kill all the ants with poison, which they are successful with, three ants are shown delivering a sample of this poison to the queen, possibly about the size of a pea. Three ants die getting the poison to the queen, and the queen eats the poison, and it doesn't kill her due to the cosmological change that is going on. Instead, she just lays a yellow egg, and pretty soon, yellow ants, yellow ants, which are immune to the poison, are shown alongside the normal ones. Now, there is an attack used to destroy the mirror that results in hundreds of ants being killed, and we are treated to scenes of the normal ants gathering the bodies of the yellow ants and laying them in a row and mourning them. Now, while a good portion of the film does focus on the humans, a large portion of the film, like the first 4 minutes, actually focuses on the ants, and then it kind of goes back and forth between the humans and the ants. And the cinematography, like on the ant scenes, is very well done. Now, I don't know if all of these ants were actual ants. Some of them may have been like animatronic-ish ants for certain scenes and shots. Now, originally, this film did have a longer ending where, like here, you can see Lynn Frederick rising from the sand. There was actually a 5-minute montage full of the typical trippy. I I call it's just typical 70s trippy bullshit, but it's actually really good. It actually kind of depicts like what the ants have planned for humanity, and it's all open to interpretation, but it gets really weird. Like there's a montage of a bunch of random people wearing optometry gear, people kind of laying down in like trays kind of, and there's just like people hooked up to like devices hooked up to them, and there's stuff being projected onto them as well as the wall behind them. Yeah, I don't know why, but Paramount apparently didn't like that ending, so they cut it out, and Saul Bass wasn't too happy with it. And that ending was actually considered lost for almost 40 years. And Saul Bass passed away in 1994 or 96, and the deleted ending wasn't recovered until the early 2010s, and some scenes and the ending was actually cut out like pretty late into post production because the film's trailer contains several shots from this deleted ending. I'm going to include a link to both the film's trailer and the cut ending in the films below. I'm also going to try to include a link to the full movie. So I recommend you watch the trailers, the full movie, and then the cut ending. But the music and the cut ending does give it a really ominous feel. And I actually am curious how they did a lot of the stuff with the ending. Yeah. So yeah, Phase 4 is a very unusual 70s science fiction movie, and I do recommend it. So yeah, thank you all for watching this video, and I will see you all soon in the near future. Peace.